Well, we're going to learn a little bit more about this book that Father Ross has been reading about from one of the Supreme Court justices. Joining us today, of course, Father David Ross. He's advancement officer at LCC and, of course, pastor at St. Rose and St. John's parishes. And thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Holly.
So Amy Coney Barrett wrote this book, and did you find it interesting? What's it about?
Well, what she tries to do is give a personal aspect, a personal focus to being an associate justice on the Supreme Court. So she talks about her past. Her family is very much involved in this book, and how the family has influenced her greatly in terms of not only entering the legal profession, but at the same time giving her insights about interpretation of the law and things of that nature. So I appreciated that. The thing I really enjoyed was the fact that she went into the historical aspects of the Constitution and how it developed. Most people don't read the Constitution.
No.
You know, that's not easy reading at night when you're going to, unless you want to fall asleep in bed or something like that. But she was able to do that and talk about how our founding fathers were able to develop this and the difficulties they had in trying to ratify the Constitution, and then the Bill of Rights and all the amendments later on to the Constitution. I found that fascinating because I'm a history buff. But what she was able to do that I found fascinating was talk about, in a very personal way, how she was able to approach various cases that came before the Supreme Court. And she would talk about the historical aspects of those cases and how sometimes cases were overturned, for example, Roe v. Wade and things of that nature. So she was able to look at that. But as she did that, what I observed was she gave a different focus. She tried to make the justices appear, and I think she did a fine job of, as being human. They're not just automatons, but they're human beings who try to deal with keeping and interpreting the Constitution in this country in the way that our founding father would. So she'd be considered an originalist, so to speak. She was, her mentor was Antonin Scalia, also on the Supreme Court. And of course, he was a very insightful justice, I find to be the case. But she would look at the way in which Justice Scalia would look at a case and how he would be insightful and how he would approach the case before them, especially some of the more recent cases in this century, how he would do that. And how shall I say it? She just gave it a human flavor to it. Okay. She gave it a human flavor. So she's not someone who stands aloof. In fact, she gave me the understanding that the justices, you know, they like to associate with each other. They like to socialize with each other. And, you know, sometimes in this age when we think that Supreme Court is against each other. Against each other. She just portrays it as the opposite. She got some good reviews in the New York Times and things like that. Then, of course, some liberals will say that this is because they don't want to be originalists, they want to be more progressive. They'll say that they poo-pooed the book a little bit, but I just found it fascinating. Well,
it's kind of neat because this is the 250th anniversary to kind of go back and look at, you know, the Constitution and all that kind of stuff and her take on it. She was a law professor too, right? So
she taught at Notre Dame, that's right.
Yeah, so that probably also helps for her to have written this book to make it more down to earth.
It does, and what she does is, you don't find many lawyers, I happen to be a lawyer for the Catholic Church, you don't find many lawyers spending a lot of time talking about their family and how, you know, how she has to have time as a mother, not only as a justice, but as a mother for her family, and how she has to balance that time. Oh, I'm sure that's difficult. You know, and I'm sure that's the case with all the justices in some fashion.
Right, yeah. All right. Amy Coney Barrett, listening to the law. Thanks, Father, for coming today.
You enjoy the book. Okay. Now, when you go to read it, though, make sure that you spend some time doing so, because there could be some redundancy in there, but she offers some good insights.
All right, very neat. All right, well, thanks, Father, for coming today.
Thank you.
All right, don't go away. Neater Edition continues in a moment.